Hey guys, it's Julie Melillo, life coach in Manhattan, and I wanted to talk about forgiveness today. Now, forgiveness is something that we hear a lot about, and how great it is, and how we should all forgive everyone from our past. It helps us to move on, and yeah, it's a great thing. But the problem is that the conventional advice is what? Just forgive. Just forgive no matter what. Go ahead and do it right now, regardless of anything else. And I just don't agree with that. The fact is, there is a process to getting over something. Now, if you need to forgive, what does that mean? That means that something bad has happened to you. Okay, if you need to forgive, something bad happened. And that bad thing is going to have been traumatic to you emotionally. Otherwise, you wouldn't need to forgive, right? So you've been through a bad, emotionally traumatic experience, which could mean a lot of different things. Now, getting over that is a process. There's a lot of different emotions you have to go through, a lot of different ways you have to see this situation before you can finally come to the conclusion of acceptance. When you have acceptance, forgiveness comes really naturally. You don't have to force it. You don't have to tell yourself, okay, I'm going to forgive this person. You just do. You know, it's like, okay, I understand what happened. I felt all of the emotions. I got through that process. I'm at a point now where I really understand it. And I get it. And I know what it is. And I know how I used to feel. I know how I feel now. I accept what happened. And yeah, you know, I can forgive them. Okay, yeah, I'm forgiven. It's done. I forgive them now. But to force the end result when you haven't gone through the process is a problem. Because what that means is you are kind of denying your pain and you're denying this process that you need to get through. Now, the process doesn't have to take years and years. You know, I'm not a therapist, so I can't comment on therapy, but I know that it can take a long time for some people to get through. But in coaching, a lot of these things you can get through very quickly, which is really exciting. So I encourage you to go through the process with your emotions. When you've had a bad traumatic thing happen, to really ask yourself at this point, regardless of when this happened, this might have been something that happened 10 years ago. It doesn't mean that you've forgiven it. It doesn't mean that you're over it. It doesn't mean that you've processed it. If it's still bothering you on some level, you're not through it. You're not through the woods yet. So when you think of that experience, what I always like to ask my clients is, what is the thing that sticks out to you about this experience? What is the emotion that this experience has left you with? What is the emotion that this experience has left you with? And you should have an immediate sort of feeling come up when you think of this past situation. What did it leave you feeling? Write that down. That's the feeling that you need to address, that you need to feel, that you need to work on. And then you can start to think about the situation a little differently, which is something that we do in coaching, so that you can say, okay, now I get it. Now I get it that this wasn't about me, and this happened because XYZ, and this is the part that I can control, and all this good stuff. But don't force yourself to forgive until you're ready to forgive. And when you are ready to accept whatever bad thing has happened, and you've gone through, you know, denial and anger and all of these other steps, it's going to come very naturally. And if you haven't gone through the steps, it's going to feel forced. It might feel fake to you. And worst of all, it's denying what has happened. And denial is a huge problem for moving forward, because if we're denying, we're not addressing and accepting and empowering ourselves. We are, it's just like a monster in the closet. We can't get anywhere if we're not living in reality. And my last point with this is, it's so important for people that have been abused. A lot of people don't realize that they've even been abused, that have been emotionally or verbally abused, because it's so common in our society today to say mean things to other people. And a lot of people grow up in families like this, and they don't see the problem with being treated badly, and they don't even get angry. And this enables them to stay in abusive situations. If you've wondered, how does that person put up with that? Well, that's how. They're actually not feeling their own anger. because they're disconnected from it, from how they were raised, which is a big, big problem. If you're telling someone to just forgive and move on, sometimes you need to really feel that anger, because anger means that someone has overstepped a boundary, that someone has harmed you emotionally or physically, that someone has not cared about your well-being. These are good reasons to be angry. And whenever you're angry, if you're an emotionally healthy person and you're angry, there's a reason for it that you need to look at and listen to. So that's why feeling your anger is so important, and you need to work through all these stages before you can just say, okay, I accept it, I forgive, it's all good. In a perfect world, that would be nice, but our emotions are there for a reason. So forgiveness is the goal. It's definitely the goal, and it gives you peace of mind, and it's such a peaceful, great place to get to. But to get there are steps that you need to go through, and including feeling all of your emotions, including anger, understanding what happened, and only then can you get to acceptance and forgiveness. So don't rush that process. And also don't stay in an angry place. You can stay there forever too. You can be angry for 10 years or longer. And that's not acceptance either. So it's about continuing to move through those stages at your own pace, but sometimes you can move faster than you might think, which is great. It's something that we do in coaching. So anyway, I just want to give my 2 cents on forgiveness, and it is so important, but it's a little more complicated than just forgive. And there's reasons that you might need to be angry for a while, and there's reasons that you might need to move through those other stages first. So I hope that you've enjoyed watching this, and it helps you in your own journey towards forgiveness and all the stages that you need to go through. And feel free to comment or subscribe and join me on Facebook. There's a link below. And also my website is yourdreamslifecoach.com. So thanks for watching, and have a great day.